Later that day, Diesel was in the wharf. Then suddenly,
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
"He really gets me in the Christmas spirit," said Scarloy. "I agree. If I didn't know better, I would say that he's from the North Pole itself, and is Santa Claus's very own engine," said Rusty. Diesel overheard, and he was very cross.
That engine is not from the North Pole, and there is no Santa Claus.
He fumed crossly.
All the engines on this railway are stupid. I'm the only one that has any common sense, and I'm going to expose Sandy for what he really is. An ordinary steamy.
Later that day, Diesel arrived at Tidmouth Station. Daisy was there collecting passengers.
Hello, Daisy.
Oiled Diesel.
Oh, what do you want?
Sighed Daisy.
I hear that the branch line Christmas special train was cancelled.
Yes, you're right. Sandy's one was too popular, so people would have rather went to him than came to me.
How does it make you feel?
Asked Diesel.
It makes me sad, but after all, he claims that he's from the North Pole and is Santa Claus's very own engine, so how could I compete with that? He's not from the North Pole. Daisy, I've no time to chat. We will talk about this later.
Why do you care anyway? Sighed Daisy. Then suddenly,
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
That engine makes my oil bubble. Anyway, Daisy, I have to go. We will talk tonight.
that night, Daisy was in her sheds. And she was worried about Diesel. I hope he doesn't make a fuss over this. Then she heard the sounds of a diesel engine, and Diesel arrived.
It is very good of you, Diesel, to be keeping Daisy company tonight,
said Mr. Kennedy.
Oh, don't mention it, sir. Now you go on home.
Right away, Diesel.
Hello, Daisy. Were you waiting for me?
No, I was just resting.
I have a plan, and it is gonna destroy Sandy Claus.
Just leave him alone, Diesel. He was just more popular than I was, so just forget about it.
Forget about it? Forget about some mad engine that thinks he's from the North Pole? He's not called Sandy after Santa Claus. He's from the Wild Wild West, and he's called Sandy after the sand. And tomorrow I have to leave coaches at Knapford Station, and Sandy will be there at the same time, and then I will destroy him. I will tear him to shreds in front of everyone.
Oh, Diesel, you can't do that.
Just watch me. Everyone's laughing at you, Daisy, and I'm gonna stick up for you. We Diesels are revolutionary and should not be shunted aside for a steamy, especially a mad one. Tomorrow's the day before Christmas Eve, and also the day before Sandy's last train. So tomorrow morning, he will not know what hit him.
But Diesel, I don't want you to do that.
Well, we all don't get what we want, Daisy. All I want is an overhaul. My whole body aches. My wheels ache, my axles ache, my engine aches, even my face aches.
So that's what's wrong with you. You're in pain, and you're taking your anger out on Sandy.
No, I am not. I am doing it for you and the rest of us Diesels.
Oh dear. The next day, workmen had put up a huge banner in Knapford Station, and they had just finished putting up the Christmas tree. Everyone was very excited.
The station is looking marvelous,
Sandy said cheerfully. The people were getting ready to board the coach. Then, Diesel arrived. Sandy Claus. Sandy from the North Pole. I don't think so. More like Sandy from the Wild Wild West.
What are you talking about?
Shouted Toby. Passengers, there's something you have to realise. That engine's not from the North Pole. He's from a museum, and he used to live in the Wild West.
We know that,
shouted the man.
He only says it for the kids.
No, it's got nothing to do with the kids. He genuinely believes that he's Santa Claus's engine from the North Pole.
What a load of rubbish! Tell him, Sandy.
But he is wrong. I am from the North Pole, and I am Santa Claus's engine.
Come on, Sandy. The conductor has taken all our children into the coach to give them Christmas presents. We're all adults here, so just admit that you only say you're from the North Pole for the children.
But I am from the North Pole. Every Christmas Eve, my truck gets filled with Christmas presents, and then I take them to Santa's sleigh, and then he delivers them all to the children. And I also deliver presents to the people that live in Santa's village. My railway track runs through it, you see. The Diesel's right. That engine genuinely believes that he's from the North Pole.
But he couldn't be from the North Pole.
Of course he couldn't be from the North Pole. He's mad.
Told you so. That engine is mad, and you can never trust mad engines. Remember last spring? 2 mad engines came to this railway, and one ended up having to get its smoke box cleaned out, and the other got scrapped, and I ended up lying in a ditch for a couple of weeks. And the worst of all, the whole island nearly got blew up. Would you feel safe travelling in that engine?
Well, he does have a driver after all.
Let me tell you something about mad engines. The driver could put the brakes on, and the engine could force them off again. And what if the signal was down, and the engine had to stop? So the driver puts the brakes on, and the engine forces them off again. And then the crew, the engine, the passengers, all have a deadly accident. The same thing could happen with this engine. Dreaming about the North Pole all day long. Just face it, that engine is dangerous.
That is a load of rubbish. Engines don't have power over drivers.
You can, if you really want to. I once forced myself to stop.
No, you didn't,
shouted Mr. Kennedy.
Oh, but I did. It was long before you arrived.
That engine is dangerous.
I'm not happy with my son travelling in it. Just say it crashes like Diesel said.
I'm not happy either. I want my money back. That engine is dangerous. No! No! You got it all wrong! The question is that engine even safe for its driver? What shall be done with it?
It shall be scrapped or thrown in a museum.
I heard it's already from a museum, but in the museum it's probably telling everyone about this North Pole and Santa Claus rubbish. Just face it, that engine is dangerous.
I hate to admit it, but scrapping it's the best thing that can be done.
No, please, I would never put anyone in danger.
We want our money back, yelled the crowd.
No, please,
cried Sandy. Then the station master came out and tried to calm things down, but it was no good.
Silence!
Shouted a voice. It was the Fat Controller. Everyone turned round to look at him.
What is going on?
Boomed the Fat Controller. That engine believes he's from the North Pole and is Santa Claus's engine. We don't feel safe travelling in him, shouted a woman.
But I am Santa Claus's engine. Please, believe in me.
That engine is mad, and mad engines are dangerous. What if that engine's collecting passengers in the future and ends up having a deadly accident?
But what are you suggesting?
The Fat Controller asked. It should be scrapped. No, there's not many steam engines left. It should be locked up in a museum and glass put round it so no one can speak to it, never to be let out again. Now that is a good idea. It means that a steam engine won't be scrapped, and it won't be able to speak to anyone ever again and brainwash them of all that rubbish. Santa Claus is for children, and when children grow up, they grow out of it. And if that engine's telling children that he's from the North Pole and is Santa Claus's engine, they will get confused when they grow older.
Rubbish! Shouted Toby. In shopping centres in December, men go there dressed as Santa Claus, and you parents take your children to meet him. Is that not confusing for them when they're older? So what's the difference between taking them to meet men dressed as Santa Claus than them seeing that engine who claims that he's from the North Pole?
It makes a big difference, Toby. First off, it's ever so obvious that those beards are stuck on, so the children know that they're not really Santa Claus. And second, people visit museums all year round, and that engine will be telling children that he's Santa Claus's engine in, like, the summer or something, which would make children believe more that there is a Santa Claus. Where in December at Christmas time, the parents take the children to Santa's grotto, and they see a man that they know isn't really Santa, just to get them excited for Christmas morning.
Finally, someone that speaks sense. There seems to be different opinions on this matter, so I'll tell you what we'll do. Tomorrow, on Christmas Eve, we will have a huge meeting. I will choose wise engines, and they will talk to Sandy, and then they will decide what will happen to him tomorrow. But if it's proven that there's a way possible that Sandy is from the North Pole, then he will spend Christmas here in Sodor. But if it's proven that Sandy is telling lies and is mad, he will be shipped to the museum immediately.
That is fair enough. We will look forward to tomorrow.
Oh, poor Sandy.
Gotcha.